Okay, picture this. You're standing in the pet food aisle staring at this absolute wall of brightly colored bags, and you're just completely overwhelmed by all the marketing jargon, right? You obviously want the absolute best for your feline friend, but lately, one label seems to be screaming just a bit louder than the rest. And it brings up the million-dollar question every cat parent is facing today. Is grain-free actually better for your cat?
Well, welcome to this explainer. I am so thrilled to guide you through this today. We're going to open up the grain-free cat food compass. We are going to look strictly at the facts, the actual science, and the real ingredients to help you navigate this incredibly common yet surprisingly confusing dietary debate. Let's get our bearings and just dive right in. Here is the quick roadmap for our investigation today. First, what is grain-free? Second, the carnivore's biological reality. Third, busting the big myths. Fourth, the carbohydrate tatch. And finally, feeding your feline right. All right, part one, what is grain-free exactly? Let's define the label. It sounds super fancy, but honestly, the definition is incredibly simple. Grain-free literally just means the food is formulated completely without wheat, corn, rice, barley, or oats. And that's it. It is entirely about the absence of those specific ingredients. It doesn't inherently mean it's high protein. It doesn't inherently mean it's a raw diet. It literally just means those specific grains were left out of the mixing bowl. Moving right along to part two, the carnivore's biological reality, how they're built for meat. So, your cute little house cat? Yeah, they're actually a tiny apex predator. The defining biological trait of your cat is that they are an obligate carnivore. By definition, that's an animal that requires animal-based protein for optimal health. This biological fact totally validates that gut instinct you probably already have. Your cat absolutely needs high-quality meat to thrive physically. Their bodies are meticulously designed to process and utilize animal protein. And because they're built this way, premium grain-free diets that focus heavily on meat do offer some real science-backed benefits. Let's rapid fire through the highlights. First up, you get high-quality muscle protein, which is perfect for maintaining their strength. Second, it supports true grain allergies, an absolute lifesaver if that's confirmed by a vet. Third, it can improve digestion for sensitive cats. Fourth, it promotes a healthy, shiny coat packed with omega-3 and 6 fatty acids. And finally, it sustains energy in highly active cats. So yeah, these are undeniable benefits of high-quality, meat-first diets. Which brings us to part three, busting the big myths. Fact versus fiction. Let's tackle the giant elephant in the room first. The myth that grain-free is just some magic word that always means a healthier food. Well, reality check. A grain-free label alone does not guarantee better nutrition. At all. You could easily have a grain-free food made with really poor quality ingredients. What truly matters most is the overall ingredient quality and the actual nutrient balance of the formula. The label on the front? That's just a starting point, definitely not the finish line. And that leads right into our next myth, the idea that grains are somehow inherently toxic or harmful to all cats. While it's true they are obligate carnivores, the surprising biological reality is that most healthy cats can actually digest and utilize carbohydrates, including cooked grains, without any problems, as long as it's in moderate amounts. Their digestive systems are actually remarkably adaptable. Okay, here's one that trips up so many well-meaning pet parents. The myth that feeding your cat a grain-free diet is going to automatically prevent obesity or miraculously help a chunky cat lose weight. Unfortunately, there is no magic weight loss kibble. The reality is pure math. Weight gain depends on total calorie intake versus their activity level. If your cat eats too many calories of a grain-free food, they're still going to gain weight, and you might just end up with a Garfield on your hands. And finally, the allergy myth. People switch to grain-free the second their cat starts itching, thinking grains are the obvious villain. But the reality is actually the exact opposite. Most food allergies in cats are caused by the animal proteins themselves. We're talking things like beef, chicken, or fish, not the grains. True grain allergies in felines are surprisingly uncommon. Let's move to part four, the carbohydrate catch, the ingredient swap. Think about dry kibble for a second. It needs something to bind it all together and give it that crunch, right? If manufacturers take out the grains, they don't just leave empty space, they do a carbohydrate swap. To maintain the physical structure of the food alongside the protein and fats, they rely on alternative carbs. And the most common substitutes you're going to see, peas, potatoes, and lentils. I really want to emphasize this quote. Alternative ingredients like peas and potatoes provide carbohydrates even when grains are absent. this is absolutely crucial because a lot of folks assume grain-free means carbohydrate-free. No way. The carbs are still very much there. They're just hiding in a completely different non-grain form. All right, let's wrap this up with part 5, feeding your feline right. Let's open up the pet parent playbook. Rule number 1 of the playbook: always, always read the ingredient list. Don't just look at the flashy marketing on the front of the bag. Flip it over. You want to see foods with named animal protein sources like chicken, salmon, or turkey, rather than just generic meat meal listed right up there at the very top of the ingredients. That tells you the foundation of the food actually aligns with your cat's biological need for real meat. But hold on, before you rush out and buy a brand new bag of food, there is one step you absolutely must take. Step number 1. The absolute most crucial thing to do before making any dietary switch is to talk to your veterinarian. They know your cat's specific medical history, their current weight, any underlying conditions. A vet is the only one who can definitively tell you whether a grain-free diet is actually safe and appropriate for your individual cat. Now, if your vet does give you the green light, you've got to transition gradually. Cats have super sensitive digestive tracts, and a sudden switch, that can lead to some very unpleasant litter box surprises. So, here's a proven schedule to follow. Days 1 to 3, mix 75% old food with 25% new. Days 4 to 6, go for a 50-50 split. Days 7 to 10, 25% old, 75% new until they're fully transitioned over. Slow and steady absolutely wins the race here. And once they're fully on the new diet, your job isn't quite over. You need to play detective for a bit. Keep an eye on their weight for any unexpected gain or loss. Check their stool for quality and consistency. Observe their coat. Is it keeping its shine? And finally, just watch their energy levels for any unusual lethargy or crazy spikes in activity. Basically, your cat's body will tell you for sure if the food is working for them. I do want to throw in a quick dose of reality here regarding your budget too. Keep in mind that grain-free cat foods are very often more expensive than conventional formulas. Because they rely on higher quantities of named animal proteins and those alternative carb sources, they usually come with a premium price tag. And that is a totally real factor you need to consider when you're deciding what's sustainable for your household in the long run. To bring this all together, just remember this core rule. The overall nutritional quality of the food is more important than whether it contains grains. At the end of the day, a complete, balanced diet that meets all of your cat's nutritional requirements is always going to trump a trendy marketing label. Grain-free can be fantastic for cats with specific needs, but it isn't automatically a superior choice for every single feline out there. We've busted the myths, we've looked at the biology, and we've uncovered that sneaky carbohydrate catch. So I have one final thought to leave you with today. I want you to go into your pantry, grab that bag of cat food, ignore the flashy front cover, and really read the back. Based on everything we just uncovered today, what's really in your cat's bowl?